Hey guys, it's Chef Earl. So I am going to demo our soda cake today. So all we need for our lab that's coming up on Friday, had to think about that, is 1 can, 12 ounces of soda. This is Big Red. And then 1 box of cake mix. And that's it. No eggs, no oil, nothing like that. Easy peasy, right? So, let me go ahead and get all my stuff together. My mise en place, I should have already had it together, right? Right. All right. So I'm going to take my 1 box of cake mix. This is actually a buttered flavored cake mix. You could use any type of flavoring cake mix. And also on the sodas, it does not matter. It actually has a spice cake with ginger ale as one of the combinations. I'm going to make a Big Red cake, which almost tastes like a strawberry cream cake. I've also, for another class, made a dreamsicle cake, which is 1 box of the yellow cake mix and a sun kiss. So, you're not going to see my pretty face. You're going to see my beautiful hands. Just kidding. Okay. So, I have my cake mix, like I've said. And then I have 12 ounces, which is 1 can of soda, Big Red, which I hate Big Red. Like, absolutely despise it. My husband, on the other hand, loves it. I feel like there's no middle ground on Big Red. You either hate it or you like it, like love it. There's no just, it's okay. All right, so I'm using a whisk, not Trixie over here off camera, not my KitchenAid. I'm not using a hand mixer either, because you can overmix this recipe easily. So I have asked you to mix it with either a whisk or a wooden spoon. I have uploaded the pantry list and the recipe. So be on the lookout for that and go ahead and grab those 2 items. Kroger's has cake mix for $1 right now. If you are usually in person, look for an email. All right, so I've been mixing this up for a minute or 2. All right, there we go. Now, I'm going to have a little bit of lumps from my cake mix. I'm okay with that. I don't want to overmix it. You don't want to have what happened to Chef Earl this weekend and have it bubbling over because you've overmixed it and half of your cake ingredients is on the bottom of your oven. Nobody likes that, and the smell is horrible. Guys, I might have eaten a little too much frosting and have a sugar rush, but that's okay. Nobody's getting mad. You just get a fun little demo video. All right, Trixie, hold on. So, wrong thing. Trixie was a little too excited over there. I have my cake pan already made up. I've added a little butter, and then I lined it with parchment paper. So it's ready for my mix. Ooh, hot chocolate. Sorry, multitasking, getting hot water for my dishwater. All right, so I'm going to try to do this in a very unnatural way to me, but that's okay. You can see it. All right, I'm going to add all of my cake mix to my pan. Now, I like to add it to the center and let the weight of the cake mix kind of spread out in the pan naturally. Helps me out a little bit. Just getting all that goodness out, scraping those sides, the bottom. We want everything because it's all yummy. There we go. Okay, so now I have it in the center, and I'm going to push it off so it gets in all the corners. We want to have a level cake, right? Yes, always. Unless you're being all fancy, I'm going to make one of those lopsided cakes, like the cake boss does. All right. Now, I'm not pushing and pulling because the parchment paper will just become part of my cake if I do that too much. But I did push some of the extra cake batter into my corners. You can see that. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to my preheated oven. I preheated my oven at 350, and I'm going to add it for 40 minutes. Because of the bakeware, mine's is a small rectangle cake pan. Now, you could use round cake pans, and that I believe you're just it's right here. So 2 8-inch cake pans would be 26 to 31 minutes. 2 9-inch cake pans is 22 to 27 minutes. A 13 by 9 pan is going to make a thin cake, but it's 26 to 31. And cupcakes would be 18 to 21. Depending on what you're baking in your bakeware, the time will be different, okay? So if you're doing cupcakes, 20 minutes. This needs like 30 to 40, okay? Temperature will not change, though. Always be at 350. All right. So, I'm now, here's Trixie, and she's so pretty. Okay, so parents that are watching, yes, I do name my KitchenAids. So for our frosting, during your lab, I'm actually going to have you use butter because it's more flavorful. Actually, it's margarine. But today I'm just using Crisco because I kind of want to get rid of it. It's been here for a minute. And it also, Crisco gives it a nicer look than what butter does. It gives it a more smoother consistency, but you're losing the flavor in that. There's all types of frostings out there. I am making, what we will be making in class too, is a American buttercream frosting. And it is a powdered sugar base. So you have your powdered sugar, you have your shortening or your butter, your fat, and then you have your cream, which I will be using chocolate milk. You can use regular cream or whole milk, any type of milk actually. Whole milk only just gives it a nicer, richer flavor. But if your parents are like my parents and always did skim milk, it'll work too. Some people call that water milk, and I don't really understand that. I love milk though. I could drink milk for dinner all the time. But once you have whole milk and you drink that free milk, there is a texture, thickness difference for sure. All right, here is my 1/2 cup now of shortening because I used 1/4 of a cup. That's why I'm doing it twice. You guys know that though. All right, move that off to the side. So I have my 2 cups of shortening. Excuse me. My 1/2 cup of shortening. I was thinking I put it in twice, I guess. Now, I'm going to add my sugar at a half a cup, my 2 cups of powdered sugar, but at a half a cup a time. So meaning I'm just going to do a half a cup there. I'm going to start stirring it a little bit. Oh, just kidding. It's not turned on. Trixie's not. There you go. So I'm going to turn it to a slow speed. There we go. I'm going to add, since I'm going to do a chocolate frosting, I'm going to add my flavoring. This could be anything. It could be lemon if you want it. Lemon extract. It could be peppermint extract. It could be a vanilla buttercream and you add vanilla instead of chocolate. Lime. You can add lime or orange. So I'm adding 2 tablespoons of my cocoa. And then 3 tablespoons of cream. I'm using school chocolate milk. Here's my 1, 2, and 3. Now, if you're lactose intolerant, you could use an alternative milk. Almond milk and soy milk actually work really well. You could also use, if you had extra soda, that you just buy one of these 16-ounce sodas. The extra that you have, you could actually just mix together. Substitute it out, the soda, using that as your cream instead. All right. So I'm starting to mix it. It's starting to get, here, let me. Whoa, Trixie, hold on, girl. So you can still see that I have my shortening right here on the side as well. And the cocoa's mixed in, but nearly not enough sugar has been mixed in. So I'm going to add another half cup of sugar. I was just drying it off. I'm going to get another half cup ready to go because I'm about ready to put that in too. I do it a half cup at a time so I don't get a big powdered sugar cloud or plume. Same with cookies and adding your flour. You want to add it slowly. I got another half a cup trying to get in there. And I'm going to add my last half a cup of, whoa, my Chromebook is now going to have a nice look of freshly powdered sugar. All right. We're making yummy frosting. All right, I'm going to go high speed for a few minutes to whip that up. I want nice whipped frosting. Now, when I talk about American style buttercream, I am talking about powdered sugar, like I said, based, your cream, and your flavoring. Also, a half a cup of fat. European style buttercream is cooked. It has a meringue, which is a egg whites, frothed up, cooked, and then mixed in to your other sugar. A Swiss or European style buttercream is smoother. It also will always stay creamy. An American style buttercream actually will harden and have a hard texture. Not too hard, but you will crunch through it. That is one notable difference, is the look. One is shiny, European, and one, American, has more of a dull look. That's because it's powdered sugar based, and that sugar with the butter and fat will harden. All right, let's taste it. Taste test. Now, yeah, that's really good. What am I tasting? Why am I tasting this? I'm doing this so I know that I've added enough sugar. With Crisco, there's no flavor. And it almost gives off that unnatural shortening taste. It will give like a oil slick on your tongue almost, like a nice oily aftertaste. If you get either one of those, oh, that didn't help at all. Then you just need to add another half a cup or to a cup of sugar, and you'll get to that point. So this is my frosting. It looks so good. I just want to take a big old bite. I'm going to set that off to the side. And I'm going to go get my cake. So, excuse me as I walk out of frame a few times. Woo! Oh, don't do that at home. Almost broke the cake. Okay. So here's my ready cake. Look at that. I'm like a professional. Got a cake already made. And now I'm going to add my frosting. I'm going to cut some of that off. There we go. There we go. All right. I'm going to grab a few tools. Here is a flat icing tool. And then I have one that's at an angle. That way, on the angle one, I can get my sides and corners. My flat one is more for the top. So I need, when I'm frosting, I need to remember not to pull too hard. That's why I added so much at the top. This is a little thicker than I want it, but that's okay. It's all right. There we go. It's starting to do its thing. All right. So when it comes to icing a cake, you want to add a lot to the top of your cakes so you're not pulling too much. You almost want to push out instead of pull in. Push out. If you're pulling too much, you don't have enough frosting to work with, you're going to, the frosting that you have will start to pull the cake and you'll get that crumbles almost all over your cake. And if you were in culinary school, that's how you fail cake decorating lab. Not that I would know anything about that. I never failed it, but I never got the grade I wanted for sure. Because I always would have crumbles. Because at that point in time, I did not have the patience. Oops. to, sorry, I stopped talking. I had to concentrate there. I did not have the patience to work with my cake like I should have. All right. Trying to get a nice even layer on the top. All right, so we got that. But now we need to do our sides. And since I already have a little bit of frosting already there, excuse my sound effects. They help me decorate my cake better. No, not really. I will use a little off the top, but for right now, I have enough in my bowl that I'm going to use this. So I'm going to take my extra frosting. This is a little better. This is the stuff we just whipped up, so it's going to be better. Yep, it is way easier. I'm going to take my frosting and push down. You always want to add more than you think you'll need. That way, we can always take off. We can't always add or fix. Here we go. There's one side. Not the prettiest, but it'll be yummy. All right, got another side. I'm kind of leaving the corners because those get a little tricky and they can crumble a little easier than maybe a side would. So I'm just going to wait and do those in a minute. All right. So now I'm going to take the frosting tool that is at an angle. I'm going to put a little more frosting on it. I'm going to come around and do the corners. There we go. Now, when you're doing the corners, you may pull a little of the extra frosting that you, don't need. Which is fine. Uh-oh. Look. See, my corner's starting to kind of crumble under me, so I got to be very, very careful. I really shouldn't have gone this. Now I'm seeing all my imperfections. On the camera, it looks pretty. There we go. All right, I'm going to try corner again. Taking some of my extra on the top. There we go. All right. Do I get all four? I did. Well, look at me. All right, I am going around the sides to clean up the sides a little bit. We all know this is a homemade cake, so I don't want it to look real perfect. So that's the whole thing about homemade cakes. They may not be perfect, but good golly, do they taste amazing. All right, and then I'm just going to go across the top of my cake. Level it out a little more. There we go. I'm a little low on this side. Kind of see the cake. So we're going to add a little more frosting. there we go. I have ice frosted my cake, and I've made soda cake, and it's gonna be so good. So good. Here's my dreamsicle cake. I'm like so pumped about this. This one's going home. All right, now, does frosting look good? Yes. Does it taste really good? Yes. But that's not the only reason we put it on a cake. There is a main purpose for frosting, and that's to keep the moisture in the cake. You will have moisture loss if you are, say, storing a cake, freezing a cake. Putting it in the fridge will even dry it out. Leaving it out on the counter for a couple hours will dry out a cake. Adding a frosting will ensure that you're keeping the moisture in. It locks in the cake. A lot of bakeries will actually bulk bake a bunch of like single layer cakes. In school, we used to bake off a bunch, freeze them, and then those were our cakes that we would practice decorating on. We just pull a cake out of the freezer, frost it, and decorate it. Now, the difference between frosting and icing, which you guys should already know, is icing would be a glaze, a type of glaze. Icing would be something that you would decorate with. You would write happy birthday on. Buttercream frosting, you can pipe out the frosting, which decorates cakes as well. It's just not always used for writing. You may see it sometimes. The Cake Boss uses a lot of his buttercream to pipe. So a lot of bakers will do that, but the icing is also another way of just decorating it a little easier. It comes out easier as well. All right, so today, all I need you to do is watch this video and you get class points. Also, I need you to watch the Swiss YouTube video, the Swiss buttercream from Cake Boss. That just shows you another type of frosting that's actually cooked. And that's a European style. We just made, what you guys will be making at home is the American style buttercream. Please be sure to add your discussion, your comment to the discussion. Also, be sure to look for the pantry list, the recipe for our lab on Friday. And if you're in person, look for an email from me. Okay? All right, bye guys.